they say. All right. Are we streaming to YouTube?
Yes.
Well, if
of course we are.
That's accurate, then hello, everyone. Welcome back to Awesome Hardware, the tech news show that Paul and I do every single Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. I'd like to have a few drinks on the show, so if you're of legal drinking age, feel free to join us. Drink responsibly, folks. Thank you for being here, and also we like to occasionally, well, we don't enjoy it, well, sometimes we enjoy it. We'll use adult language here and there, only when appropriate, of course.
We speak freely.
We only use inappropriate language
Speak our minds.
appropriately. So fair warning there, if you have little ones around or something like that. You have been warned. We also accept donations on this show. It is never required, always appreciated. We'll be reading any comments or messages attached to those donations at the end of each half of today's stream. So that's right, we actually stream each episode in two halves. Today's half is, or today's first half is streamed to my channel on YouTube, and then in about an hour or so we'll switch over to Paul's channel, youtube.com/paulshardware, or you can find the link in my video description. If you're on Twitch, just stay where you are. The whole stream will be filmed right there. And am I missing anything? Merchandise. We sell merchandise on both of our individual stores. Mine's bitwit.tech/store, where you can buy shirts, hoodies, pint glasses, regular glasses, bottle openers, and desk mats. The desk mats are very popular. Both the regular size and the XLs are doing really well right now, so go ahead and pick one of those up. You can also head to Paul's store if you want more of the same but different designs, same quality.
Paul'sHardware.net.
Paul'sHardware.net, where you'll find an equally tantalizing assortment
Same
of
quality,
merchandise.
slightly more tasteful. We also have Awesome Hardware merch on both stores. If you buy the Awesome Hardware merch, such as the shirt that I am wearing today,
Yes.
featuring the sword fight, designed by Brian.
Or the RGB everything designed by one of you. It was a contest design
that's
design
the
contest winner. Yes. Very classic.
But yeah, that gets split between us, and we thank you for your support and your patronage and for watching our show.
And we'll yell Johnson at you at the end of the show if you buy something from either of our stores. Double Johnson if you buy from both of us.
Cheers.
Cheers. That was a pretty efficient intro.
Yeah, it seemed pretty good.
Oh, there's two pups on stream as well. We have Hero and Nori. That was a Hero that you just heard.
He just
if you didn't hear it. I don't know what
He's
was
just
that.
yakking on a bone.
He's yakking, bone yakking. I do that all the time.
Also,
so-
the air conditioner's on because it's hot.
Yeah,
It's hot in California.
It's really, really hot.
So
I don't know what the high is today, but
it's in
definitely
the mid 90s here.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
not as hot as it could be, but definitely hot enough.
sure.
And later in the day,
Us
the
Californians
the sun beats down with great aplomb upon my garage.
plums.
Yes.
All right, let's dive into our first segment on that
Yeah.
beautiful transition.
Exactly.
Starting with hot and heavy hardware.
Oh wait.
Woo! Hey, that's quite appropriate for the weather conditions right now.
It is. It's perfect.
That
That was a good transition.
Yeah, hey, redeemed. Now, NZXT is launching a new E-Series digital power supply lineup. This is an article from Hexus. In fact, they've already launched it. I think today was the big drop. These units are not by NZXT in-house per se. They're actually using, excuse me, they're using Seasonic Focus Plus Gold units at their core, and so NZXT is building upon the Seasonic units, which is good, by the way. I want to point that out. Seasonic makes really good quality power supplies from my experience. Even like the reviews on Johnny Guru usually praise most things that Seasonic puts out
Big ass capacitor.
in this category. So what NZXT has done, they've come in and they've added a couple nifty features for monitoring and controlling your power usage, which is actually pretty handy. So I don't know if it's the first of its kind, maybe the first of its kind that I'm aware of, but it's pretty nifty. You've got
Digital
readout. Now there's
PSU
no
monitor. It's definitely not the first.
there's definitely no monitor on the unit itself as far as I can tell, but rather through the CAM software. So it integrates through CAM. There's a little mini USB port if you look where some of the other major connectors are, where you can plug into your motherboard.
Right there.
And yep, there it is. And then you can get real-time stats through CAM. So there's a PM bus architecture. They've added a Texas Instruments DSP, and like I mentioned, USB connectivity. So it's actually pretty cool. 500 watts, 650 watts, and 850 watts are all available. All of these units fall under an 80 plus gold certification. And the TI DSP chip is what gives you the real-time wattage monitoring, and it also gives you the wattage across all three of the 12-volt rails independently. So you can kind of see how each rail's behaving. And then you've also got real-time uptime and internal temperature, which is pretty handy. You can also check the wattage draw, the power draw of your CPU independent from your GPU. CPU and GPU. So this is actually pretty handy if this would be a good like benchmarking power supply. So you don't have to plug in like a kilowatt every time or something like that. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with kilowatts, but I don't know. I might throw this into like a test bench or something like that. Seems pretty handy. There's an independent...
Someone in chat asked where the USB plugs in. Usually it goes into a USB 2.0 header on a motherboard. Although I have seen ones, because like it's just a little micro plug on there, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it definitely goes.
You could use any USB cable. So you could in theory route that out and plug it into a USB port on an actual USB port on your motherboard.
True.
But usually it ships with like a cable that plugs into USB 2.0.
Right.
A little block.
There's also independent overcurrent protection for the 12-volt output to the motherboard, CPU, and GPU. It's fully modular. You guys probably saw that from the pictures. 10-year warranty, which is pretty solid. And the fan is it operates at 0 decibels or 0 RPM under 100 watts of load. So if you're idling or you're playing a really lightweight game or something like that, power supply is probably going to be dead silent.
A lot of systems will idle down in the 60 to 80 watt range.
Yes. And then if you're looking for pricing, I only have the Great British Pounds right here. I didn't actually do the conversion, but the 500 watt is going to be 115 Great British Pounds, the 650 watt at 130 pounds, and the 850 at 139 or 140. So what's 129 pounds? Oh, I thought you were looking it up right now.
No, I was looking at the email.
Oh, wait, what? The email from what?
There was an email because there was
NZXT?
an email from NZXT that went out that.
Oh, right. I think I got that.
Specifically about that.
I think Wifey took a look at that for me. So 182, because I feel like the 650 watt is what a lot of people would be going for. It's kind of a nice sweet spot for a single GPU, which is 182, translates to 182 US. That's not per se the MSRP in the US. I'm just converting it on Google what the Great British Pound conversion is to USD. So it says 182 right here. But it could be, 179, 169. Woo-hoo. Not sure.
Did this go to my wrong? Hold on.
But cool. I think it's time that power supplies became the least bit interesting.
Oh.
So good job, NZXT.
The E500 is $125. The E650 is $140.
Oh wow.
And the E850 is $150.
Oh, thank you for looking that up, Paul. The 650 is actually 140 then, as opposed to the 180 something dollars that I looked up with a conversion on Google. So definitely a bit more reasonable there.
That's still on the expensive side though. So I
Sure.
feel like a power supply is something that people will often get by with spending in the $40 to $70 or maybe $80 range, because you can get a like, what are these rated? Are they gold?
80 plus gold. Oh no, yes.
The Hale 82. Their
Yes,
existing,
they're
their
gold.
existing
They're all
line
gold.
Their existing line of power supplies is bronze.
They're all gold. Yeah.
And these are gold. So
gold's good.
It's still a little on the expensive side.
It could be. This was probably like if you removed all the digital features and stuff, all the cool stuff that we just talked about. Maybe it's a $90 to $100 power supply for the 650 watt. And so you have to consider, is the extra $40, if we're talking about the 650 watt unit, worth the additional monitoring features?
It's like the cables are all black.
Monitoring control. Cables are black. That's a good, astute observation.
Yes.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
What?
Here,
oh no!
Hero just unplugged the camera.
Oh. When did that happen?
It's like right now.
Oh. At least you caught it right when it happened.
Yeah. Thank you, Hero. Oh, you're so cute. You're so cute.
Our viewership just shot up 20% after our faces went dark. It says something, but they can still hear us though, right? Blah de blah de blah.
We're back.
Blah de blah de blah.
They should be able to still hear us.
That's funny.
Alright, so
That-
we've had...
It's a good thing I mentioned the
I saw him
pups.
flop down right there, and I was like, did I hear something?
I did give a pup disclaimer at the beginning of this video of the stream, so you were warned.
He just laid down right on the power cord for the camera. Little hero.
He really knows how to get our attention. All right, cool. So that's the E series from NZXT. Moving on to another article from Hexus. Hexus really is where it's at for a lot of hardware launches and information and stuff. So thanks to those guys for writing these articles. Thermalright. Sorry, Thermalright launched a new Threadripper cooler for TR4 called the Silver Arrow. Kind of like that name. Sounds fun. Sounds very powerful and capable. It's got a large contact surface, so it's looking to be full IHS coverage, and it's got
those heat pipes.
a lot of heat pipes. It's got eight nickel-plated 6mm heat pipes. Holy moly! And like I said, a large contact surface. It's going to be good for either Threadripper or EPYC CPUs, both using the same socket. 140mm twin tower. So you'll see it's a single 140mm fan sandwiched between two fairly substantial heat sinks or fin arrays, and then all those heat pipes sort of permeating those.
Okay.
Pretty sweet. It's got an interesting colored fan too. It's not necessarily just a basic red, but it's kind of like it looks like a cherry red, or maybe it's just the pictures.
Remember the old Fantex air coolers? The
Yeah,
ones?
yeah, it does remind me of that.
Slightly reminds me of that. Those the entire cooler was a specific color.
Right. Yeah, it definitely is reminiscent of that. It's got the brackets for mounting the fan onto the heatsink.
Yeah.
Kind of similar design there. It also comes with its own thermal paste, which is known to be fairly high quality.
That's good.
And a decent looking screwdriver. That's one thing that I always noted from Thermalright coolers is that they always include like a really good magnetic tip, full size screwdriver. Which, I mean, most of us already have something like that, but it's just really a really nice accessory. It's actually the screwdriver that I still use till this day for everything. For 90% of my building is the one that I got out of their Macho Zero cooler. I don't know if that's the right cooler, but it's completely fanless. It's completely passive, but amazing accessory there.
They're just doing things Thermalright.
They're better than those Fisher Price grade accessories.
They're not going to treat you thermal wrong.
Damn, you're just on fire today. I'm not even gonna try following that up. Someone get some ice for this boy. He's hot.
Should turn thermal left.
Right.
I can't.
You should quit while you're ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I should stop.
All right, so that's fun. Moving on, we've got an article from Overclock3D.net about another yet hot and heavy piece of hardware. This is the Corsair. I said it like a southern person. Corsair Carbide Spec 06 RGB. All right, but it doesn't need to be RGB. They're also selling a non-RGB version of it.
That's thoughtful.
Yeah, it's a budget ATX chassis. The specs are as follows: up to ATX motherboard support. Most budget cases don't support eATX. Tempered glass side panel. Looks like it's got some a fairly thick black bezel around it, but full tempered glass. It doesn't stop at the power supply shroud like some budget cases do. So that's kind of cool. The RGB model has a three switch controller, so you can switch between different colors, different modes, etc. And then there's the non-RGB, which obviously omits that controller on the front panel. You've got 7 expansion slots, 6 120mm fan mounts, 2 of which are included on either model, and pretty decent radiator support for a case like this. 240 at the top, 360 at the front. No word as to whether or not those can be concurrently installed, but that is nice to have those options. You've got 4 2.5-inch drive mounts and 2 more standard 3.5-inch mounts. Power supply shroud going across the entire depth of the case, which I like. Not a fan of half power supply shrouds. Just doesn't look right. And then the pricing here is $79 and $89 US. Excuse me. Whoa. Burping up a storm today, for the non-RGB and RGB variants respectively. So $79 for non-RGB, $89 for the RGB. And it looks like the only RGB implementation here is on the front panel. It's kind of got this interesting sort of abstract design. Woo! There's a little swoop, a little Nike check.
That little thing there.
Woo! Just do it. Just RGB it.
Like
and it looks like some bottom LED too, firing out the bottom. Reminds me of something.
This little
yeah,
at the bottom.
That's the sound that thing would make if it could make a noise. Okay, so then there's an underside look, underbelly look.
There's the
It's got a
back.
full dust filter too. That's good. All right. It looks good inside. Like,
Yeah, that's
I don't know if the
pretty
outside's my style personally, but functionally it looks pretty good. Where is it intaking air from? Looks like the top and bottom. Maybe something similar to like a H440 or S340.
OC3D approved.
OC3D. Yep. Okay. It's got the stamp of approval
Oh,
from the OC3D guys.
We could have watched Tom. We could have watched Tom do the video.
Oh yeah. I like Tom.
I
You know, I
should've
met
been
Tom at
watching-
Computex for the first time ever.
Oh, yeah?
I thought I'd run into him a lot sooner on our journeys here in tech, but
Did he
he's
gi-
really cool.
Did he give you the
I like
old?
him.
Did he give you the old blob and squidge?
The old plop and squish, yes.
The blob and squidge. Anyway, all right, everyone go watch Tom's video on this so you can see more of it.
Do it. All right. So that's the Spec 06 RGB. Our last spotting for hot and heavy hardware is again from Overclock 3D. This is about 2 gigabyte Aorus B450 boards that have been spotted online
Hey.
that you might be interested in if you have or are planning to buy a second gen Ryzen CPU, because that's what this is for. There's the ATX Aorus B450 Pro, which is pictured right there, and it has most of the features you would expect on an X470 board. It's pretty feature rich for what it is, for being the more economical of the 2 chipsets supporting second gen Ryzen. Then we've got beefier VRM heatsinks on here than previous like B350 boards that we've seen. 11-phase power for the VRM. Dual M.2 slots with heatsinks, which I'm sure there will be some sort of article or video from Gamers Nexus as to whether or not these are helpful or hurtful. I look forward to it.
NAND should be hot. Keep your NAND hot.
Should be hot. Let's keep it hot.
The controller cool. NAND
Yeah,
hot.
cool and hot. That'd be a good segment name. Cool and hot.
You're right.
I don't know.
We should do that.
There's potential there somewhere. 6 SATA 6 ports, 6G ports, of course. There's a single PCIe by 16 3.0 slot at the top that's reinforced with that sort of metallic plating.
With metal.
With metal. So metal! The second slot is physically Gen 3 by 4, but it shares lanes with the board's top M.2 slot. So be aware of that. And then both of those are wired directly to AMD's AM4 SoC, so they're not running through the B450 chipset. However, the second M.2 slot shares 4 PCIe 2.0 lanes with the board's final or bottom PCIe by 16 slot, and both of those are connected and wired through the B450 chipset. So, there you go. The rear I/O has 2 USB 3.1 Gen 2 ports. 2 of them. We haven't seen many boards up until this point with 2 USB 3.1 Gen 2 ports on the rear. Oh wait,
I believe that's one of the updates for the chipset.
yes, it is. 6 USB 3.1 Gen 1 ports, DVI and HDMI outputs, and a single gigabit Ethernet port. Not sure if it's Intel or Killer. I hope it's Intel. Integrated I/O shield. That's kind of part of the cover there.
That's nice.
And if you're looking,
I like that that's becoming more of a trend.
yeah, absolutely. That's becoming more and more of a nuisance, having to install the I/O shield. And you know what my problem is? I sometimes forget to remove the I/O shield when I'm disassembling a system. And then I put the motherboard back in the box, but then the I/O shield's still in the case. And then
Oh, yeah.
And then 6 months later, I pull the board out because I need it. And I'm like, where's the I/O shield? Oh, it's in like a Meshify C that I forgot about 6 months ago.
It's a shame.
Buried in a bunch of
Shame
shit.
when that happens.
It is. And if you're looking for
Dogs.
someone order us a pizza,
Dogs.
because if so, I am very.
No, my wife should be home soon.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure if she's home now.
That seems a little early for.
It's a little early.
Puppers, you shush. All right. So if you're looking for something that's a little bit smaller,
Normally I yell at and berate them, you know.
but then you'd also be yelling into
Nah,
the ears
just
of
yelling into the mic.
hundreds of poor innocent
I
bystanders.
don't really yell at them. That's. I
just physically beat them.
calmly but assertively. No, I don't. It's horrible.
Actions speak louder than words. Don't those dogs know it? Pah! No.
See, Twitch is
Paul's
all
very
full
loving father.
of dog emojis right now.
Them puppy motes.
YouTube can't do that though.
You know what YouTube does? YouTube just types in dog.
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 Dogs.
Dog.
Dog. There are people saying dog.
There are a lot of people saying
Yes.
dog. Can you copy paste a dog emoji from Twitch and
I
then
don't
paste?
think
probably
so.
not. No, doesn't work that way. Okay. Moving on here, the Aorus B450M is something you might be interested in if you're looking for some of the same features and maybe design language of the B450 Pro, but you want to go micro ATX.
Micro.
It's cheaper. It's got smaller VRM heat sinks that cover fewer components than the Pro, so you might not get every last bit of overclocking potential that you find on the Pro board. But it still seems okay. There's a single M.2 slot with PCIe 3.0 by 4 connectivity, with the board's top PCIe by 16 slot having full PCIe Gen 3 by 16 connectivity, while the second by 16 slot features PCIe 3.0 by 4 connectivity, which is shared with the single M.2 slot. I'm sure you got all of that.
Yep.
This is expected to launch this month alongside the Ryzen 3 2300X and Ryzen 5 2500X processor. So we are very much looking forward to all this new hardware coming out. Options. New options. Cool.
Yay.
And thus concludes hot and heavy hardware. Let's take a gander at some more hot and heavy hardware. Wasn't Pip my PC?
Oh,
Yeah.
what a smooth transition.
Heck to the frickin' yes.
Pip the PCs.
You're a word, you know? Because some of these things, some of these systems that we're looking at today look a little heavy.
We just can't stop.
Some of them are running a
Can't
little
stop
hot.
Pip the PCs.
Seems like it's really a continuation of the segment. But
Oh look, there's dogs in YouTube now.
dogs and you. Oh wow. Okay. Wow. They heard the call. They answered the call. Not enough
It's
dogs in
like,
YouTube
Hey
chat.
kids,
We'll show you.
there's at least 3 different dog emojis we're now seeing. in YouTube chat.
wolf.
Yeah, well, I think that is a wolf.
I didn't realize there were so many different pup emojis, and there's a hot dog apparently. Learn something new every day.
You could just have to press Windows,
I get it. A hot dog. Haha. Perfect.
Windows key and
See you.
period to bring up the emoji list.
Windows key and period.
Yeah, you never done that?
What? What? Is this like common knowledge that we're all born with? Is this instinctual and I just missed the boat here?
No, it's these
Does this work for Twitch too?
things you have to learn over time.
What? This is just Windows? These are Windows icons?
It's a Windows 10 thing. I don't know
What?
if it.
I've never ever seen this or heard of it.
Well,
My
now,
life
now
has
you
forever
know.
changed. My
Now
life.
there's even more.
You need a new segment
Look, we
called
got
like
Live Long and Prosper.
you need a new segment called like Windows 10 sucks, but here's some hacks.
Just little
That's
things.
that's the whole segment name. Windows 10 sucks, but here's some hacks.
All right.
And now it's time for Windows 10 sucks. but
So
here's
I'll do full confession, even though it's slightly embarrassing, of why
Embarrassing.
like the reason I was kind of excited when I knew that, or when I found that out, is because I got irritated because like if I ever want to do an emoji in a tweet, you know, which it makes it fun, right? We put
Sure.
the little emoji in there.
Of course.
Makes more fun.
That's all Twitter
I have
really
to use
is.
my phone, but sometimes it's easier just like I'm at the computer. I'd
Yeah.
like to type it out.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's got to be a way with Windows
Right.
to
Put an
just
emoji.
do it. And like,
And you looked it up?
turns out, I feel like, I don't know if I looked it up specifically or if I
Go
had
hit
just
every
if I had
key.
just encountered that dilemma
Ah.
and like then, you know, also sort of coincidentally or at about the same time discovered that. But there you go. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Windows key period. There you
Well,
go.
hey, the more you know.
Enjoy your enhanced textual communications.
Oh,
On
That's all
Windows platform.
I'm doing at this point.
Yep. It's also fun to because there's some that are there in Windows that don't work. Like there's a Ninja Cat. If you
Ah,
try to do the Ninja Cat,
really?
it like on Android, it just appears as like the ninja emoji and the cat emoji separately, which is kind of weird.
Wait, how do you get rid of it?
Get rid
Oh,
of
there's an X.
yeah,
Interesting. Hey, it works.
Ninja Cat.
That's the Ninja Cat, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Oh no, that's the Ninja Cat, the black ninja.
Yeah,
what
there
did
you
I?
go.
What the hell is this? What did
It's like a Ninja Turtle. Looks like a Ninja Turtle actually. That
That's
you
not
just
a
put in
Ninja
there.
Turtle. What is
I
that?
don't know what that is.
It looks like an
What you-
old
It looks. It's a sad. It's
grandpa.
It's a crying ninja turtle.
It's like a grandpa ninja cat.
crying.
Okay.
That's of course.
It looks like it's got a
Crying,
beard.
the crying ninja turtle face emoji. bearded crying ninja turtle face.
Yeah, I feel
It's
like
appropriate in many situations.
I feel like my mom right now just discovering
Yeah.
new tech features on her phone.
All right.
All right, let's get into this right now. Pit My PC, Francisco, he tweeted me some pictures of his rig.
Just
And-
in case you haven't seen this, get it? Get it?
That leads me to believe the system's
This
inside
is
of an
an
end
end
case.
case. Uh-huh.
M1, which it totally is.
Look
Pod
how-
relevance achieved.
Look how Lilliputian it is.
Lilliputian.
Lilliputian?
Lilliputian. I don't know.
Diminutive? Small?
Diminutive, yes. Tiny. So, okay, it's a Ryzen system.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like we've got maybe 8 or 16 gigs of RAM here. That's Corsair Vengeance LED. He didn't provide specs, so we're gonna have to guess on some of this stuff.
Yeah.
There's definitely a Founders Edition card in here. It's a, it looks like a, is it a 6-pin? Maybe that's a GTX 1060. If that's a 6-pin.
Yeah. Doesn't the stock 1070 have a single 8-pin, or is it a 6-pin?
1070 is a 8-pin.
8-pin. Is this a 6 or an 8-pin?
That looks like a 6, but I could be wrong. Oh, maybe it's an 8-pin.
It might be an 8-pin.
Okay, if it's an 8-pin, then it's probably a 1070. Because I think 1060 is a 6-pin, no?
It has
It's an SLI finger. So it's a
fingers.
1070.
It's gotta be a 1070 or.
Yes.
Or a-
Mystery solved. I almost didn't see the SLI finger because he's got the cap on it still. Okay, very nice system. I'm going to guess maybe a Ryzen 7 chip if you're pairing it with a 1070
Yeah, because it's also the Ryzen
with the LED.
the Wraith. Which one has the LEDs? The Wraith RGB.
Wraith Max?
Wraith Max.
I think Wraith Max with
Which came with what, the 1800X? Is that what it? Or did you have to buy the special one that had the Wraith Max? I forget which one it came with.
Yeah, it's lost on me. Because we
So-
got the review sample straight from AMD, so we don't
Yeah.
know the retail.
So a practical,
config.
just a practical point here. Like, I can appreciate the aesthetic touches of the aftermarket power supply cables.
Yeah.
However, like, those probably cost you a good $80. I mean, you've got 8-pin, 24-pin, and this here. So probably
I felt something on my foot, and I looked down, and then Hero just booked it.
Hero's really he's making this a more exciting show this time. So anyway, I feel weird that you invested in that and you still got a stock cooler. It's not a terrible stock cooler. It's good for a stock cooler, but it
Right.
is still a stock cooler, and there's definitely improvements that could be made to that. So that's just a thought.
I think I'm okay with the stock cooler because it's in the end case.
Okay.
I feel like he doesn't have many great options with that much space. And
There's lots of great options.
I mean, sure,
There's low profile.
but I mean ones that are going to be quieter and perform better than that cooler.
Yeah, I've got one right over there.
Sure there are, but
Here, I'll get it for
I
you.
don't know. I'm a sucker for the Wraith coolers. I think they're great. I think that's to me that's a selling point of a Ryzen CPU is that it comes with a great cooler.
Here.
Is this the oh no, that's a slightly NHL12S Low Pro.
Yes.
Let me see. They never put the picture of the actual cooler on the box, which always bothers me.
It's Noctua. They don't have to sell their products. They just make them really good.
I'm gonna buy it either way. I just want to see what it looks like.
Who
before
cares
I do.
about marketing or making it an attractive color or putting a picture of it on the box? They just like Noctua. It's good. But for real though, there's some slight changes that could probably improve Noctua's overall.
I feel like if you walked into Noctua's office and you saw a bunch of like engineers there, where's your marketing team? We are. Where's your engineering team? We are.
That's us too.
It's just us. Okay, so yeah, this is a really nice a really nice cooler.
Yes.
And it's got a slim fan here, which you could probably even I guess you could mount one on top, but let's see. Is this doing? Looks like it's pushing air through it towards the top. That's a good cooler though. I've never actually used this one. Is this for a particular project that you have coming up?
No. I was
You just have it
considering using it
concealed
for
in
the
the
mini
box?
ITX build in there, but I think it's slightly too large for that.
Sure.
Although I still might double check, because now that I've got everything in there, I'm kind of like, But what I wanted to do was use this, because you can also mount a fan on top of this if you're not as concerned about the height. So you can do a full-size 120mm fan. So you can put a good fan on this, and then it becomes a very...
If you put a fan on top, does it conflict with the clip here, or no?
I think it comes with other clips
Oh,
in
okay.
the box that you can use for 120s.
Okay, cool.
Not that this is a bad fan, it's just a slim fan, so it's not going to
Sure.
be quite as effective. So anyway, we're getting very distracted here, but
That's okay. The other
my
thing-
point is, before I would drop the cash on those extensions, I would improve the CPU cooler first. That's just what I would do.
Ah!
What are you doing? Stop breaking
Sorry.
stuff.
Sorry.
Making.
That's why we don't unbox things live.
It's also now. No, it's alright.
But apart from
Okay,
that,
so
your system looks great. There's a bit of color clash with the cables and the card and the fans on the bottom, but if that's your style, go for it.
I would
And-
consider maybe something in there to prop up the GPU a little bit because the sag there is standing out to me. Right?
Yeah.
In the second picture. And you got a
Yes.
fan right there. I bet you could like insert something there that would just kind of hold it up a little bit. But
True.
that'd be all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sweet build, man.
Thank
1070
you,
in that footprint is great.
Francisco, for sending that over. Next is Keith McRae.
Keith.
i5 4690K EVGA GeForce 960 2 gig. Gigabyte Z97X motherboard, 16 gigs of Kingston HyperX DDR3 memory, Corsair CX750 power supply, Fractal Meshify C. There
Okay.
it is. There it is.
Okay. Wait, whoa.
single picture.
Stock Intel cooler. See, total opposite story with an Intel stock cooler. These things are noisy. They don't perform all that great at all.
It's so small.
And you have such a nice system. Look at the. All right, here's where I would use Paul's exact argument that he just left us, which is, why'd you buy the really, really nice extensions? Damn, they look really nice. And leave the stock cooler.
Was this a theme?
Maybe a theme that we
Like,
didn't
wow.
even expect going into this, but I have the exact same argument that Paul did. Now I'm totally on Paul's side. Like, see, the Wraith is much better. Much better than this. And you have an overclocked CPU here, the 4690K. I don't know, man. I would have spent the money on the cooler first. Maybe it's a situational thing and you have a reason for it, but now that everything else about your system looks pretty spot on.
Yeah, it looks so clean.
Buy a damn
it looks so clean,
aftermarket
and then
cooler.
It's just standing out.
Yeah,
so
that's
much.
a total eyesore. Your system
Um,
would be perfect if you had an aftermarket cooler there.
Not that I can take my eyes off this for too long, but you could retie this cable here. Your exhaust fan on the back.
Yes.
That could be tidied up slightly. Other than that, just
Shows you the gap of.
get a different cooler.
Yeah.
It's worth it. Dabble with some overclocking a little bit.
I'm also wondering if those are the correct DIMM slots, because I usually see that slots 2 and 4 are the primary ones if you only have 2 sticks installed.
Often it doesn't
Not-
matter.
not all boards?
Often it's the first and third, or the second and fourth.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
just putting it out there.
Oh no, this is a reply.
it's a really
this is a
nice-
reply to his by Andrew Crane. Okay, sorry.
Oh, so he updated the cooler,
1080 and new CPU cooler are in the mail.
and then he.
Corsair BX 100 250 gig boot drive and 1 terabyte.
Okay.
storage. So all right, so this is obviously apparently still a bit of a work in progress since he is currently in the process of upgrading the GPU and a new CPU cooler. So
Okay.
good luck with that, Keith.
But did he post a picture of it down below?
no, this is somebody
what
replying to him
Oh, I see.
who also has a Meshify C.
Okay. Cool.
All right, Keith, we might not feature you again on the show, but tweet us some updated pictures once you get those
Word.
updated hardwares in there.
Next up, we got Zach. It's his third PC he's ever built. First rigid tubing.
Zach Dacus.
It's the first time he's ever done rigid tubing, so let's go
It's a
easy
fun
on him
name
slightly.
to say. Zach Dacus.
Zach Dacus.
My name is Zach Dacus.
What up, Dacus? That's a cool last name. I've got a 2600X overclocked.
First rigid tubing he's
Yep,
done.
overclocked to 4.3 on an Asus Crosshair Hero 6 with 16 gigs of G.Skill Trident Z RGB RAM at 3000 megahertz and an RX Vega 56. Very nice. My storage is an M.2 Samsung 256 gig, and he's got a 3 terabyte mechanical hard drive. So, oh wow, he's got a
like
monoblock on there too.
I don't see many Vega 56s around because I feel like no one has bought them for anything.
'Cause they haven't really been-
but mining and stuff.
Super accessible.
Yeah.
But damn, this is really nice. This is, I mean,
Yeah, it's a.
you've got a monoblock on your CPU on your 2600X, and you've got a water block on your graphics card and on the Vegas 56.
I hope this beautiful looking system is only on the floor temporarily.
Oh,
right?
of course.
That must only be temporary,
I hope so.
because that would suck to put all this effort into building a hardline cooled system and then just keep it on this floor.
You can't escape Paul, people. He will notice and he will find out and he will point it out if you leave your system on the floor, which I wholeheartedly agree with. He's just much more vocal about it than I am. But okay, moving back to the system, for your first hardline tubing job, I'll be honest, we can tell. But we commend you for the effort, because it's a very intimidating task, very intimidating undertaking that you've gone ahead with. And you know what? It's functional and you're not getting any leaks. I'm sure your temperatures are fantastic. But if we are talking Pimp My PC here, I would like to straighten out some of these bends.
Yeah.
Just to maybe make them a bit more, like all the vertical bends, I like to see them parallel with the edges of the case, with the front and back of your case. And then all of the top, the ones going laterally, I like to see those parallel with the floor, perpendicular to those vertical tubes. It's just kind of like, you know, your basic rigid tube bending 101, I guess.
Yeah, and keep things parallel or perpendicular. I mean,
right.
You can do an angle, but it has to be intentional, and
Right.
here it's just not looking quite as intentional.
Yeah.
But like I compare this to like the, you know, when you're talking to a pilot about a landing, like any landing that you can walk away from is a good one. Like, this is obviously a functional water cooling loop. It's not leaking. So, especially for first time, you know,
Right.
there you go.
Yeah.
I like the lighting though, it looks pretty cool with that. You get a really nice look at everything. So yeah.
And then maybe some custom sleeves. Some sleeved extensions might be nice.
Yeah, that would top things off.
Sure. Apart from that, though,
I like the drain here at the bottom too.
yeah, that makes it really easy
Functional.
if you want to drain the system and then try your hand at redoing some of those tube bends. So, thanks, Zach.
All right, thank you very much, Zach.
Mr. Dacus. Next up, we have John.
John has an i5 4590 3.3 gigahertz Cooling Master Hyper 212 Evo Z97X Killer Fatality from ASRock, 16 gigs of G-Skill Ripjaws, 1600 megahertz DDR3, GeForce GTX 1060 6 gig, 240 gig SSD, 3 terabyte hard drive, a 550 watt power supply, Zalman Z9 Neo Black case. Zalman case. I often ask myself,
What
who uses Zalman cases?
what compels one to buy a Zalman?
Because every time I've like handled a Zalman case, I've always been like, I don't like this case.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, me too.
I don't know.
It's got to be the price.
I've never really
They're
been
just too
impressed by
cheap.
one.
Although that's kind of cool. That pattern makes a Z.
But yeah, there's lots of them,
Some
and
detail.
probably lots of them that I've never heard of, and I'm sure maybe some of them are okay.
Sure.
So yeah, you got the Z for Zalman. So we can appreciate that.
And then we also have a red and blue color scheme. Looks like the only blue you have here is with the LEDs. You got 2 blue LED fans at the top. Those are the clear stripper heel fans that Paul and I usually
Yes.
write off as a no-no. And you've got some blue LED on your graphics card, which I think you should just go all red, man. And maybe that SSD, the only piece of hardware that's actually blue here, is what convinced you or inspired you to make it semi-blue here. But I think you should spray paint that SSD red or hide it somewhere else in the case that's not visible and just go all red here. That's what I would do. Again, if you love the red and blue, then keep it.
I don't mind the red and the blue.
No?
I mean, I agree with you about the fans. I don't like the top fans,
Right.
but
And that's my thing. If you're swapping out the fans, you might as well make them red.
I kind of like the two-tone color, like black, and then you got red and blue. I don't think they clash or anything like that. I think you could swap out those top fans with some blue LED fans that look kind of like the red LED fan that you got on the back, and I think it would still work. I'm just saying, if you like the red and the blue, I don't think.
I think for me, what it is if I'm gonna do a mishmash of colors, then I want both of them to have equal parts hardware representation. Like, I don't want one color to just be represented by LEDs alone. And of course, he does have a blue SSD.
Yeah, you just.
But I
you
feel
just
like
contradicted yourself.
No, of course. And he does have a blue SSD, but I wasn't finished. But I want to see more than just one component in that color. Maybe some blue memory sticks to contrast the red accents on your motherboard. I think might look pretty cool if you're really going to own it and go with that color combo.
Okay.
Maybe consider modding some of the fans so that you have red LEDs, but then maybe you spray paint the frames blue, or maybe the corners of the frames blue, or something like that. Just planting some seeds, planting some thoughts here.
Ketchup and mustard cables, though, as well.
Word.
Definitely need to be dealt with. But thank you, John.
Yep.
I'm going to switch over to Jay Hall, and I'm going to try to preemptively stop something right now.
Oh, yeah. Mrs. Paul's hardware is home. The pups have caught on to that fact, and Paul is now going to tranquilize both of them. Yeah, he's pulling out the... Oh, it's a blow dart gun that he's got. Interesting. Oh, and there goes Hero. It's just, and Nori's freaking out because she sees, Hero's falling down. Yeah, you see? Oh, there's a second one. He needs a little extra. There's the second dart. Yeah, Nori's next. And down. All right. That's how it's done, folks. That is how you dog own. What? Okay, what? Yes. Is that Amagang? No. What is that?
It's Darkness Imperial stuff.
Ooh, I like Darkness. Hello, Darkness, my old friend.
Yeah.
Is that a,
No, this is from the set that was sent.
Ooh. Who do we have to thank for that?
The same person
Does he
who
have
we
a name?
thanked last week, and that we thanked the show before Computex.
Yes. I could just forget his name.
I know.
But cool, Russian Imperial Stout, Surly Brewing Company with the Cerebus? Cerebus, is that the three-dog name? I forget.
Yes.
Cerberus.
Cerberus.
Asus made a graphics card called the Cerberus. It was
Yes.
a 1070 Ti. Good card.
Alright, we're gonna open
Anyway.
that in a second.
All right, cool. So last dude of the day is Jay Hall, and let's quickly talk about his rig. He's got he said, how about my kid's
Kid
system? Phenom 2 950 question mark 2x2 gigs of DDR3, 1600 Radeon 6450, 4 gigs Corsair Force, another question mark, 120 gig SSD under HDDs, and Thermaltake 650 watt power supply. All right, let's take a look here. Wow. Okay. I'm sure it's fine for a kid's PC in terms of the performance, but it's got to be noisy with that stock cooler. That stock AMD cooler is the loudest cooler period I've ever encountered.
Yeah.
In my opinion, that specific one, because AMD's had a lot of stock coolers from that era, but that one in particular is a freaking jet engine.
This is in Asus's blue phase.
Yeah. Yep.
What
They went from blue.
Pablo Picasso had a blue. Is it called the blue phase? The blue period.
Oh, I don't even know. I'm not artsy and
Asus had one of those
historic
too. I'm trying.
like you are. Asus had one of those too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it'd be interesting to do a video on like the different trends that motherboard manufacturers or any manufacturers go
It's the
through.
blue period.
The blue period.
Picasso's blue period, just like Asus. Asus had a blue period back in like the P67 days.
Yeah.
P67, Z77.
And then they had the gold period, which no one approved of.
Oh yeah.
That was the period we don't talk about anymore.
Ah.
I'm glad that's over. At least the blue is a little bit more tasteful. Okay.
This Thermaltake power supply, there were lots of these. This is a good power supply.
Is
the
it?
cables looked hideous, but
They sure do.
in the day
My
when
God.
there was lots of crappy power supplies going around, this one was a solid long-term use
Nice.
system.
Okay. So apart from that, I mean, I don't know, man.
You can't do anything about this system aesthetically.
And you can't really do much about the cable management in this case either.
There's no options. There's nowhere to put the cables.
Just burn everything.
We don't really have a picture of the outside much, but I can
Yeah.
tell by this drive mounting system that there is no behind the motherboard tray anything here.
Yeah. So
So yeah,
just scrap it.
put the side panel back on. That's my recommendation for this. Side panel back on.
And then burn it.
That will probably block some of the noise from that stock AMD cooler.
Just a little bit.
That's what you should do.
Yep, that's really all the help we can give you right now, Jay Hall. Thank you guys so much for submitting those, and this concludes Pin My PC.
Yay.
Let's quickly blaze through some news articles here because, damn, we are a little suddenly short on time.
I know.
It's been rambling and rambling.
Well, that happened.
Okay. Intel and AMD talent wars heat up, according to WCCF Tech. This is a pretty quick article here. You can read it more extensively if you want the details. I'm going to summarize really quick. This is basically talking about the talent wars that's been going on between Intel and AMD, which started in which started in
Amtel.
November. Yeah, that's a really weird mashup. Which started in November of 2016 when Intel hired a really talented engineer named Martin Ashton to be the VP of Core and Visual Computing Group. He was responsible for the initial workings of what will eventually become Intel's full-blown GPU efforts. But then a year later, Intel also stole from AMD Raja Koduri.
Oh yeah.
Remember that? That was huge news. And Chris Hook, both from Team Red. Intel just snagged him.
They hooked him.
While also poaching Tesla's Jim Keller and bringing back Tom Forsyth. AMD was undoubtedly not too thrilled about that, so they struck back. AMD strikes back by getting Robert Gamma, who's their chief HR, and he stole Martin Ashton from Intel. So the guy that and this kind of worked out for Martin Ashton because Ashton was hired to this huge undertaking at Intel, working their GPU thing, their GPU segment, but then Raja kind of just got slipped in there, and according to the article, Raja kind of took precedent and sort of got a lot of the attention for the GPU efforts from Intel. And so Ashton kind of felt sidelined, which was a perfect opportunity for AMD to come in,
Hey, you can't sideline Mashtown.
swoop him from Intel,
Nope.
and now
Right.
it's getting fiery, folks. And then Intel fired back. It's just a back and forth. Intel cleaned house, snatching up some serious AMD talent. Alexander Lyashevsky, so seriously talented that I can't pronounce their name, which is an engineer. Jason Gunderson, also an engineer. Radhakrishna Githuthri, an AI engineer, and Joseph Faka, which was formerly at AMD. Not at the time that they hired him, but he used to work at AMD. So Intel is clearly very serious about their GPU efforts, and this talent war is just it's serious business. The talent that you have at your company means a lot. These people are getting paid very well to do what they do and bring in their expertise, their knowledge to lead teams into developing amazing hardware that's going to be cutting edge and competitive against these companies' rivals. So pretty soon we might be seeing Intel joining the big two when it comes to GPU manufacturers, NVIDIA and AMD. By the way, the reason why AMD didn't snag up anyone from NVIDIA is because during this time, for the last couple of years, NVIDIA stock has been doing really well, and a lot of the execs and engineers high up in the chain of command at NVIDIA are sitting pretty. They're not looking for other options. They're happy because NVIDIA is just killing it right
Probably
now.
happy with their existing options.
No shit.
Stock options.
Exactly. The stock options are phenom at NVIDIA, so that's why Intel sort of targeted Intel.
Finance pun.
Yep, fine. That was woo-hoo. Crank the AC up a few notches. All right, so that's all I want to say. It's two big boys on the big playground, duking it out.
Finish your beer.
I shall. Don't have to tell me twice. This next article is from Globe Newswire. It's one of the headlines in the title of this broadcast. It's about the new industry standard that's been introduced for connecting next-gen VR headsets to PCs and other devices. This is plastered everywhere. It was on the hardware subreddit. It was on WCCF Tech, a bunch of other articles, publications. So basically, there's a new industry consortium of sorts that's led by the folks at NVIDIA, Oculus, Valve, AMD, and Microsoft, which all of them, this consortium introduced today the Virtual Link specification. It's an open industry standard that enables next-gen VR headsets to connect with PCs and other devices using a single high-bandwidth USB Type-C connector instead of a range of cords
Just simulating the experience for people watching.
We need the air horn. For anyone who hasn't had the privilege of trying out an HMD or VR headset yet, that's exactly what it's like. You're not missing much. You've been there. You just saw it.
I don't know why they don't
even bother.
Play that clip back for people rather than spending the exorbitant amounts of money.
Right.
On
you see those lines at CES and Computex for all those VR demos? It's like, no, just
exactly.
Exactly the same.
I'm trying to open beer.
So this is USB-C, a single USB Type-C connector. It also just reminds us of the versatility of Type-C, and just the fact that it can be so high bandwidth and carry so many different specifications and standardizations. Instead of just having like a bunch of cords that you have to plug in. Remember my HTC Vive has like 3 or 4 things. You got to plug in like 1 or 2 USB. You got HDMI and then another one for power. Whereas USB can do that. USB Type-C can do that. It can carry power as well. In fact, this spec actually supports up to 27 watts of power, in addition to delivering 4 high-speed HBR3 DisplayPort lanes, which are scalable for future needs. A USB 3.1 data channel for supporting high-resolution cameras and sensors. We're going to need those cameras for room scaling, for room tracking, augmented reality, and so forth. This is all through a single USB Type-C connection, ladies and gentlemen, and it's been adopted by as a standardization spec that we will be seeing for future generations of VR HMDs. I think it's cool.
There's more bandwidth than
the White House.
The Thunderbolt, right?
Is it?
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like it needs to be.
The
Thunderbolt isn't necessarily.
40... Wait, what's the bandwidth on it?
The bandwidth actually is not listed here.
This crappy article from Globe News Wire doesn't say.
Doesn't say the actual bandwidth. Like I said, 4 high-speed HBR3 DisplayPort lanes and a USB 3.1 data channel. But there's no actual spec for the actual bandwidth. At any rate, this is going to be pretty sweet because I feel like it's also going to allow HMDs to plug into smaller devices, more mobile, maybe portable devices like laptops and notebooks, when it only needs a single USB Type-C connector, as opposed to like having like 4 or 5 plugs that you need to put in to a single device.
Yes, it's good.
So
good idea.
This is good, and things are good and good.
Thunderbolt is 40 gigabit per second, I believe. I believe this is like 42 or
42,
something.
just barely edging out Thunderbolt, which makes sense because I feel like the demands here are pretty high for VR, carrying that signal for the updated resolutions and stuff that the next gen of headsets will require and support. Next article here is from Hot Hardware. Intel is to present soldered CPUs on August 1st, going up to 5.5 gigahertz. This is a rumor, okay? But it's a rumor that's been circulated in plenty of areas online, and seems to be like a good rumor, if that makes any sense. A semi-trustworthy rumor. But again, a rumor. So 9th Gen Core family is allegedly launching this month. It's going to compete with 2nd Gen Ryzen, of course. Based on previous leaks and rumors, some more rumors here, the 3 processors we know about include the Core i9-9900K with 8 cores and 16 threads. That would be the only chip so far that's been we've been made aware of.
42.4.
42.4. Okay.
Sorry.
0.4 is...
Going back to the old
wow
story, because it's 32.4 gigabits per second for video bandwidth and 10 gigabits per second for USB 3 data bandwidth.
Right.
So, yeah, sorry.
Okay. Thank you for clearing that up. So we've got the i9, Core i9-9900K, which will be the first time in Intel mainstream CPU family history where we have an i9 with 8 cores, let alone hyperthreading with 16 threads. The i7-9700K, which would be probably the more direct successor to the 8700K, with 6 cores and 12 threads, probably just gets a nice base and boost clock upgrade.
Ooh.
And then we've got the Core i5-9600K with 6 cores and 6 threads. So there have been anonymous sources who have signed NDAs with Intel claiming that multiple samples have reached 5.5 gigahertz while overclocked. I'm not sure exactly how trustworthy someone who breaks an NDA is, but if they're right...
Probably not very trustworthy.
But if they're right, that's pretty cool. We don't really know which samples that they tested are actually able to hit those clock speeds, but 5.5 gigahertz is pretty stellar. Now, obviously, that higher clock speed would bring in a lot more heat. And sources, the same anonymous sources, are also saying that these new chips will feature soldered heat spreaders in place of the standard crappy thermal interface material that Intel has faced so much criticism for in the past.
So Gamers Nexus did it.
They did it. They
were like
disrupting the industry.
They were like, Intel, look, you're throwing performance away, and they spoke the right language of like, hey, money, and Intel's listening.
That's all you have to say to Intel.
Yeah.
Money. That's how you get their attention. Good job, Steve and GN team. So, yeah, if they're using their own, if they're ditching the crappy TIM and they're using soldered heat spreaders, that would partially explain how they're able to hit those higher overclocks. The other aspect would be the refinement of the architecture and stuff like that. It's hard to say which SKUs again will hit 5.5 if the rumors prove to be true anyway. So yeah, look forward to 9th gen. More CPUs, yay! More content on the way.
For those in chat who are confused, Gamers Nexus, I mean, they're not the only ones, I was kind of joking there, but Gamers Nexus, among others, have done quite a few different tests where they delid Intel processors. Der Bauer's probably also should be named here. Because you can delid them, you can remove the crappy thermal paste, you can just put better thermal pastes and get better temperatures and thus better performance, or they've done a bunch of testing with liquid metal and that kind of thing. But yeah, the statement I remember Steve making in one of the videos that I was watching was like, Intel, like, you're throwing performance away, you're making a product that can perform at X value, and then you're doing this thing to it that makes it crappier than it is, like spends the little bit amount of investments to your BOM cost or whatever that improves that, and suddenly you'll have a better, more competitive product. Makes sense.
Yeah.
They do spend. I don't even know how much money they spend developing processors but there's a lot of work that goes into that. It seems kind of ridiculous to just take this one little part of manufacturing involved with applying a heat spreader and thermal paste.
So easy
and
cheap.
Improve that process, and then you so anyway. That's why I brought that up.
I agree entirely. Okay, so that's fun. Fun facts from Intel, potentially launching 9th gen Core CPUs soon. Let's move on to our next article. Really quick, PC sales are growing for the first time in 6 years. This article is from The Verge. I also verified this on some other publications. So yeah, there's a couple marketing research firms, Gartner and IDC, who both agree that the PC market has shown growth in the second quarter of this year. They have slightly different percentage increases that they're attributing this to. So there's 2.7% increase for IDC, but Gartner's claiming it's only been a 1.4% increase. The difference is because IDC's data includes Chromebooks, but it excludes Windows tablets that include devices with detachable keyboards. For example, the Surface Pro. Whereas Gartner's data is kind of the opposite. It includes Windows-based tablets as PCs, and it excludes Chromebooks or any non-Windows-based tablets. So they have different ideas of how they define a PC. I guess that's what it boils down to. Chromebooks appeared to be powering some of the PC growth last year, but Gartner's data shows that it's also from regular desktop PCs and Macs, not just Android tablets and Chromebooks. So I guess our community has something to do with this growth, is what I'm hearing, what I'm getting out of this. The first year-over-year, we're seeing the first year-over-year PC shipment growth since the first quarter of 2012. It's been 6 years since we've seen this kind of trend. Windows 10 business PCs, so in corporate environments and workstation environments, are powering some of this growth in the second quarter of 2018, which is offset by declining shipments in the consumer market. There's an analyst at Gartner that predicts that PC momentum in the business segment, however, will start declining in about 2 years once all of these businesses have finished switching over to Windows 10. Because, you know, they're formerly either on Windows 7 or Windows XP, God forbid Windows Vista. Those businesses probably aren't in business anymore. So yeah, all in all, the takeaway here is that PC is looking good. And we're on a bit of, not tremendous growth, but the first sign of growth in quite some time. And the big five in the PC business includes HP, Lenovo, Dell, Apple, and Acer, who all saw growth in this area.
And then there's the
for this quarter.
Soul Stone. It's the last one.
The Soul Stone. I don't know what that is. The Soul Stone. Is this like a Lord of the Rings reference that I'm not picking up?
No, is it Infinity War? Marvel?
Oh, Avengers?
Thanos? Avengers? Yeah.
Did you see it?
Yes. Why?
I haven't.
You never did?
I haven't seen it.
Okay, that's fine.
I've been really bad about my movies. Like, I haven't seen The Last Jedi. I haven't seen Solo. I haven't seen Black Panther.
I didn't see
haven't
Solo.
seen Avengers Infinity War. Like, I live under a rock. I've been living under a rock for the last several months, so it's not okay. Thank you for making me feel irrelevant.
Right around the time Black Panther came out, we saw Black Panther, and then we kind of went on a kick going back and rewatching Marvel Cinematic Universe movies that we had missed.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of caught up with that, and then we saw Infinity War.
Yeah.
Still haven't seen Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Oh, yeah. That's another one
Excuse me.
that's on the list.
Sorry, you were
Or
listing out
Deadpool
5
2.
things, and there were 6. There's 6 stones. Anyway, never mind. Let's continue.
Okay. Relevance achieved.
Yeah,
After that
Soulstone could also be a World of Warcraft
little
reference.
detour. Okay. And then the last article of today is quickly from The Verge once again. About Amazon crashing on Prime Day.
Oh yeah.
Really quick, those of you who were trying to participate, or actually got to participate in Prime Day, might be aware that the site was down for a lot of us, particularly in the LA, New York, and Pacific Northwest area. Pacific Northwest is where Seattle's located, which is where Amazon is based, so that makes sense. We experienced the biggest outages. So Paul and I obviously live in New York, or LA, and it was down for me. Was it down for you? Did you even check? It was down for me for a good 2 hours.
I didn't.
For about 2 hours, I could not log on from about 12:05. Prime Day started at 12 at noon, so 12:05 to like 2 p.m. It just was not working at all. Endless loops.
This also could be like a STD distribution map. Right?
The most sexually active.
Oh yeah, the
members-
most sexually active. Right. That's the areas.
No wonder those two coasts are the most populated because everyone's
yeah.
engaging in unprotected sex. But at the very least, the silver lining here is that even though the Amazon site was down for millions of people yesterday,
There's this cute dog.
we still got to meet the dogs of Amazon.
Aw.
And that's really what we're looking at the finish line here, folks. So yeah,
Cute.
Amazon does have a pretty adorable way of telling you that their site is down and you can't buy shit by
Hunter.
posting these lovely pictures of all the dogs, some of the dogs that Amazon employees own, that are owned by Amazon employees. So very, very adorable.
Needs
Very adorable way to say
Needs more dogs.
you are fucked.
Dags.
Very adorable way
You
to
like
say
dags?
You like dags? A what? Dag! Oh, you mean dog.
I like caravans better.
Caravan's move. Okay. His man? His what? His man. Oh, his mom. Great movie. Go watch Snatch. All right.
Terribly partial to American Blue Boss.
I think my favorite scene is with Tyrone in the car.
Oh yeah. It was a funny angle.
It's right behind you, Tyrone. Oh god. All right.
Okay, sorry.
Anyway, that's all for tech news. That's all for the show. We have donations and stuff that
Yeah.
you guys have most graciously sort upon us. So the Gilmore, $10. Is there a worthwhile RGB air cooler for my new AMD 2600X, or should I just find an RGB fan to throw on my Hyper 212 Plus?
I like the Cryorig H7 Quad Lumi.
Yes, that's a really good cooler if you're looking for some RGB flair, decently priced and decent performance as well. Would be more than adequate for a 2600X.
Cooler Master, I can't keep the product names down, but they've had some recent launches that are like an air cooler with RGB fans
Right.
on it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But maybe check those out too. I like some of the little RGB controllers that they come with, because if
Yeah.
your motherboard doesn't natively support like
Right.
the addressable ones, it'll have a little controller that maybe comes along with it.
True.
That's helpful.
Yep. David Harvey, $5. Build or buy a NAS?
Build.
Build is funner
Yeah.
and
More fun, more flexible.
more flexible and more serviceable
Yeah.
in case something goes wrong. It's hard to service like one of those WD NASs if it just kicks the bucket.
I
or
will
something.
say the nice thing about buying can be that the little control boards that they use are like very purpose built, or they're specifically chosen to be able to kind of just handle the tasks of the NAS, so you can potentially get better like power usage from that. Hero, what are you doing?
So maybe unless you want to buy like a workstation board or something like that, that has those higher rated components for 24/7 operation. What's
Yeah.
he eating?
I don't know what he's doing right now.
He looks like he's anxious or something. Are you okay, boy?
You're okay.
Sometimes he gets nervous.
You're just a little antsy.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much, though, Harvey.
Luke the Goon.
Luke the Goon.
$5. I have to thank you both. Without Kyle's How to Build a PC and Paul's First 5 Things videos, my current rig would not exist. You guys are awesome. Thank you, Luke.
Yeah, you know,
You're awesome.
Yeah, and those two videos go really well. They go hand in hand
Yeah,
together, don't they?
I have a How to Build a PC video too. You could use, but that's fun. It's cool. The First 5 Things video.
Mine's clearly better.
That's
That's clearly what he's saying.
I should do a remake or an update of that one with the updated Windows installer. Thank you, Luke.
Thanks, man. MB67,
Oh, thanks.
$13.37. Kyle, I enjoyed
sir.
your anti-Amazon Prime live video. I was persistent though, and wound up getting an i7 8700K for $299. Nice. And a Corsair H100i V2 AIO for $79 from the Prime Day sales.
That's pretty good.
Those are some of the better Prime deals that I've actually heard of. So congrats, man. I'm glad that you actually got something out of that day.
Yeah, that is nice.
That's some good savings right there for sure. And also, you tweeted me, replied to something, and mentioned that the NVIDIA Shield, I think it was going on sale on Prime Day for like $139, which
Oh.
is pretty damn good. And I looked for it. I looked for it all day yesterday, and I looked for it today, but the price never changed. It was still $179. I don't know if I missed it. I might have missed it. I was like, that'd be cool. I should get a Shield. Maybe fiddle with some GeForce Now or something now that it's supported, but I don't know. I could have missed it, or maybe... And you even linked the article. He even linked an article from, I forget which publication, that said, yeah, it's definitely going to be $139, but I don't know. I'm glad Prime Day worked out better for you than it did for me, and I'm also glad that you enjoyed the live stream. I had a lot of fun doing it. If you guys haven't checked out the live stream, it's still fairly relevant. Go watch that live stream. It's about 45 minutes. It's not tremendously long, but I point out a lot of really good deals on Newegg because Amazon was down at the time, and the Newegg deals, unlike Prime Day, are going on for the next 3 days. So you can still pick up a lot of those really good deals. 16 gig kit, DDR4 for like $130. I was like, from Team, which isn't like a bad brand by any means. So some good stuff on there. Go check it out. Thanks, MB.
Except they're called Team Group, and I think that's redundant. Okay.
You would. Space Butler 2000, $7. Do you know if there is an angled USB 3.1 front panel MOBO connector / adapter? I've been looking for one for the last few days and I haven't found one. I'm sure Paul has just the answer for you, as he's been looking up into that corner of his garage.
This is the only one I've found.
What is that brand?
It's Lian Li.
Oh, yeah.
So it's made
There you go.
by Lian Li. This is a 45 centimeter. 40 is it centimeters? Right? Yeah, 45 centimeter.
Yeah.
One. So I used this when I upgraded
Arctic Panther.
and I added USB 3.1 to that. But I found this. I bought 2 of them, and then like you can't buy them anymore. 'Cause
Really?
There's a at least the link to this one, they're not available.
Oh.
So there's a specific length limit for these. I think it's 60 centimeters. It can't go longer than that, which is why you're not seeing them quite as frequently, because they have to be
Sure.
positioned at a point in the case that can actually reach where the header might be on your motherboard.
Sure.
So yeah, 60 centimeters is as long as they get. This one, if you want to try to find it, go look at my video on Arctic Panther case mod where I added USB 3.1 to that, and it's linked in that description, or PW-IC01NH45 is the model here. So if you can find that, then maybe you can buy one.
Heck to the yeah.
I'm gonna put this away.
Well, cool.
I got two, that's why I have one more.
You should sell one of them for like $100.
Can't have it, it's mine.
All right, thanks for that info, Paul. Pup Shepherd, $5. Wags. So many puppies.
Hey,
if
Pup.
only. Oh, never mind.
What?
I'm
No.
not gonna read more
Pup.
into that. Oh, never mind.
My
Happy Tuesday.
puppies.
Plug. Check me out if you're into stuff. He's getting more audacious with every episode.
I know.
It's starting to scare me. Go check out Pup Shepherd at your own risk, fellas. All right, Philip Rams. Philip Rams sounds like a pup fan.
Philip Rams is a great porn name. That's an awesome porn name.
That is the best.
Uh,
Unless his name was like Richard. Like, hey, Dick Rams. Okay, $10. Mr. Kyle, did you ever try out that mysterious USB thumb drive you got in the mail time a while back and unleash Skynet upon the world? No, but that's a potential video that I'm considering doing because it's really kind of bogus. Once I realized what it was and what it does, it's kind of scammy. It's very scammy. Not to me, but to the customer that it's appealing to. Anyway, I might do a video on it. Thanks for bringing it up. Thank you for the donation as well. Mr. Harvey, David, $10. What to upgrade first? 2600X at 4.1 gigahertz, H100i V2, B350 Tomahawk 4x4 gig kit of 3200 megahertz LPX, 500 gig 860 Evo, 2 terabyte Barracuda, 1070 Ti armor in a Dark Base 700. I won the case from you, Kyle. Hey! Congratulations again on that case win. Damn, what to upgrade first? I would say your beer. No,
you're fine. Dude.
Yeah, everything's
Like,
good.
honestly, you're fine.
Yeah,
Don't. Yeah, you're
1070
good.
Ti, damn.
You're good to go.
You're good, man. Nothing. Upgrade nothing.
Like, yeah, there's a bit faster systems or more powerful systems you could get there, but unless you're doing a bunch of video rendering or something like that, that would actually take advantage of like a 16-core 1950X or something, which
Mm-hmm.
would require you to upgrade your entire platform to like a much more expensive motherboard and stuff.
Right.
Like you have a nice setup. Consider some investments in the aesthetics.
Exactly.
Maybe a cable
Exactly.
extension kit or something.
Yep.
I don't know.
Look to cosmetics because your hardware is perfect. Frosted Moon 10 Canadiers. I don't have a question. Just felt like donating. You the man.
Thank you, Frosted Moon.
You the man. Alex
Longendijk.
Longendijk, $10. Love both you guys' videos. Question: any idea on what size or speed DDR4 megahertz I could safely, without anything blowing up, achieve with an i7-8700K with an Asus Z370A Mojo? I'm sure he meant Mobo. I don't think you need to worry about what RAM speeds will potentially blow up your system. I think with Intel, memory speed doesn't matter quite as much as it does with Ryzen.
Yeah.
So don't spend too much more money. If it's like $5, maybe $10 extra to buy like the way faster kit, go for it. But don't spend like anything more than that.
Your sweet spot that I would aim for would be a
20.
16 gig of 3200 speed memory.
Yeah.
In that range.
Yeah. But if you have to settle for like 2933 or something, your performance isn't really going to matter. It's not going to change much. If you can save $20 from it, then I would say go for that. But yeah, thank you very much for the donation, Alex. Andrew Schweier, 5 Canadiers. Hey guys, was wondering if you could help. My RAM has been stable at 2933 XMP, but Destiny 2 soft locks, then fully freezes. How can I fix that? Timings? I'm curious as to whether or not your memory's overclocked at 29. Oh, well. Does he mean it's stock if he says XMP afterwards? Not necessarily, right? I'm wondering if
If he's running it, using XMP values, then it's supposed to run at 2933.
Right.
And that's what it should run at.
Then maybe your CPU's overclocked and it's unstable, or
Possibly.
your GPU's overclocked and it's unstable.
It's also just one of those things with overclocks that kind of sucks sometimes, is you can do something that is, because technically 2933, even if your memory is rated for that, that's still an overclock, because the actual rated speeds for, I think you're on Ryzen, are 2400, I believe, 2133 and 2400.
First gen, yeah.
Yeah, depending on,
Yeah.
on what generation you have and stuff. So it's not guaranteed to work. So you
Right.
can be stable in 90% of the stuff that you do, but then you can have that one thing that you
Sure.
do that locks up. If it's consistent, then yeah, it's probably something to do with your overclock.
Update your BIOS just in case.
Loosening up your timings could be a way to potentially deal with that.
True.
Just back them off by a point or two at a time and see if the situation repeats itself.
Yeah.
Other than that, you might have to set up a secondary BIOS setting that you switch to when you play Destiny 2 specifically.
Sure.
Annoying as that might be.
And if you're really trying to get to the bottom of it, you really don't know what's causing that crash, then I would run everything stock and then start overclocking one component at a time.
Yeah.
Overclock your CPU and then play for a week. If nothing happens, then you know it's not your CPU overclock.
Also,
And
Andrew,
then just keep going.
Andrew, I think one of these packages back here is from you. We're
Ooh.
doing mail time on my half,
Nice.
so stick around for that. Okay.
Luis Fonesca,
Luis
or Lewis, I'm not sure.
Fonseca.
$5. When should we expect next gen of i7 Intel chips? Should I upgrade from a 7700K to an 8700K, or should I wait? I would say wait, and you should be
Yeah.
expecting the next wave of Intel Core CPUs to be this month, if the rumors are true, as we mentioned earlier on the show.
Seems like in the next month or two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would go for an 8-core. If you're gonna upgrade, if you're really set on upgrading, having the latest and greatest, I would say from a 7700K, go with like the 9900K or whatever it's called, the i9. Get some 8-core action in there if you're sticking to Intel.
But don't bother upgrading to an 8700K. Wait till the next gen stuff
exactly
comes out.
Yeah.
Contagious.
Contagious. Yes. $5. Cooling an R1600 on an X370. I think he meant Ryzen 16. Oh yeah, Ryzen 1600 on an X370 gigabyte gaming 3 with a 1080, 3000 megahertz RAM. Which processor would you recommend? Ryzen 5
Is he
1600.
in which cooler? Because it says he's cooling a R1600, which I assume means a Ryzen 1600.
That's weird that he said.
And an
which
X370
processor.
motherboard with the GTX 1080.
Okay, if you're talking about a
I think he
cooler.
means what cooler, because he
Okay.
says cooling. It starts as cooling.
Yeah. Okay.
What cooler would you recommend?
I mean, there's so many good budget options. I would say stick with air. You don't need liquid for a Ryzen 5 chip. The CryoRig H7 that Paul mentioned earlier is a good option that looks nice too.
Solid
If you have like a
choice.
tempered glass side panel or something like that, you don't need to get the Quad Lumi though. That's a little bit more expensive if you want the RGB. You can just get the regular H7. Looks really good. Nice white fan and stuff. Cooler Master also has some pretty good budget options. You can go. I don't know. A Ryzen 5 chip doesn't really need that much cooling. You probably have a 65 watt TDP chip, if I'm guessing. Oh yeah, you do if it's the 1600, not the 1600X. So yeah, I would say get the cooler.
Noctua U12S Chromax.
Get the cooler
That's a
you
good-
think
that's a
looks
good-
good and has good reviews.
Frozen Durian recommends that. That's probably a good choice.
Budget, reviews, and aesthetics. Look at those three things and decide what's good for you, because there's so many options. Wishbone, $5. No liquid metal on your $10,000 PC, D-lid Threadripper, etc., and on your GPUs. There is actually liquid metal on the 7980 XE in my $10,000 PC, unless he's talking to you, Paul.
Wait,
it
sorry,
might be. He might
what's
be
the
talking to
question
you.
again?
No liquid metal on your $10,000 PC, D-lid Threadripper, etc., and on your GPUs. Oh, I think he's talking to you because you just had you've been working on Riptide. Which is about 10,000.
Threadripper delidding is really fairly pointless. Der Bauer has kind of shown that. I mean, yes, there's some small benefit to be achieved, but not really. GPUs, I did aftermarket coolers on. Liquid metal is. Alright, well, if we're speaking practically, honestly, I don't have any liquid metal here. I did not have any liquid metal to put on, so that wasn't even like an option that arose.
Needs more
for
liquid
me.
metal.
And it wasn't an important enough thing for me to arrange beforehand.
You're not
to,
gonna need it for
to
the rest
get,
of the
because it's like obviously I could just order some liquid metal or something like that. Honestly, for me, it was a long-term usage situation. So that's what it came down to for me. If you're talking about Arctic Panther has a D-lidded 7960X in it, and that I just used some Cooler Master Nano fluid, because upgrading the thermal paste still gives improved performance. Going to liquid metal gives more improved performance, but it also introduces the possibility of like applying it wrong, because it's conductive in certain areas. And so I just opted to go with the thermal paste because I want to make sure that if I do end up running it for a couple years, I'm not concerned about long-term usage.
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
So that's really what it came down to.
Thank you very much, Wishbone. Johnny Woolen, $9.99.
I'm not wasted. Shut up.
Balls wasted. You said John. I'm what nasted. I mean,
I still have to do my half of the show. So hurry up, Kyle.
Sure
hurry
do.
up.
Two more.
Okay.
What's up, guys? How do you feel about mixing brands within a build? For example, a motherboard and a GPU. Doesn't matter. Don't care.
It's totally fine.
Totally fine.
The only time I would specifically say stick to the same brand is if you're really concerned about lighting.
Oh.
And you want to make sure that like
yeah.
your graphics card lights and your motherboard lights can all be synced up with the same application. Even in that situation, there's some there's the companies that don't make motherboards and GPUs that still make the software, like NZXT or Corsair or Cooler Master, for example, that can still sometimes take control of those, even if you have disparate brands for those products. But that's the only time I would say.
Yeah.
Make sure. Other than that, it doesn't matter. You can mix and match.
Yeah. Aventus, $10. Will my build last for the next few years, or do I need to upgrade?
With the PC part picker
list.
Kyle's
Definitely no
gonna look at that
malware
right now.
coming in here. Wait, I typed it into the URL and it
Because
doesn't.
he put
it's because
.com
he
in
put .com.
parentheses. So he wouldn't get in trouble.
Boom, and boom. Any problems with what was his question? Oh, will my build last for the next few years? 7700K. I would wait and see what the 9th gen core processors have to offer this month before you pull the trigger on that. And a GTX 1080. Yes, that will last you a long time. Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow, you have a lot of SSDs in here. Why do you have 4 SSDs in the system?
You gotta have the storage.
All right, sure. You need 10 terabytes of SSD storage. All right, cool. Yeah,
Man.
I think your GPU is great. There might be a new GPU around the corner soon. I don't know. And then CPU, yeah. You can get more than 4 cores and 8 threads easily, which I think you should. So hold out for the 9th gen. That's going to do it for my half of the show, people. No, it's not. Johnson's really quick. God damn it.
I have one Johnson.
Don't we all?
You ready for my Johnson?
I'm ready for you.
My Johnson's for Bearded Axe. Thank you, Bearded Axe from Illinois. Got a 2-glass English pub glass set. These same glasses that we're drinking from today. They're really good.
Noise.
They're really good for drinking.
Noise.
You can drink fluid out of them.
Bearded Axe gets a double Johnson.
No Johnson.
Awesome Hardware Sword Fight Black Tri-Blend T-shirt. Thank you very much. That is the only Johnson. I have 2.
Glorious.
We each have 1 Johnson,
Keeping it
as
simple
God
today.
intended. So that's going to do it for my half, guys. Don't go anywhere. Paul's half is about to start. You can
Coming
either
soon.
stay where you are on Twitch, or if you're
Momentarily.
watching on YouTube, follow the link in my description. And feel free to do timestamps for my half. That would be much appreciated. I'll pin you and stuff. It'll be great. We'll have a party. And toss like the video.
We're gonna be at Comic Con this weekend. If you're gonna be at Comic Con,
We
come see
will
us. We're
be
gonna
at
have a
Comic-Con.
fan meetup on Saturday at 4 o'clock.
Saturday at 4 p.m. If you're going to Comic-Con San Diego, we'll be there
We'll tweet about it.
at the LAN area.
Yes.
Computers. All right.
Okay. Bye.
Bye for now.